Hey gamers, welcome to another episode of the PTGC podcast. My name is Gerard, and joining me is my co-host, Gio. Say hi.
What up?
If you like our content, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more episodes. We release this podcast every week. Make sure, if you enjoy this, make sure you do definitely subscribe then, especially with how our recent videos have been going. Our other co-host is Mike is on vacation, so he'll not be joining us this week. Hopefully he can next time.
Towards the end.
Yeah. But on today's episode, talk about more troubles that seem to follow Ubisoft's wake, that they've seemed to cause themselves when they throw the figurative elephant that is Assassin's Creed Shadows into the water. Yeah. And I would like to preface this before we go on deeper that I don't want to knock Ubisoft. I've said recently, it was like, they're not right now my favorite company, but they used to be. They made all my favorite games growing up, like Tom Clancy, Splinter Cell, and Watch Dogs is a good game as well, Prince of Persia, and more importantly, the one that I think everyone's mostly in tune with was Assassin's Creed. But they've been dropping the ball real hard lately, and that's what made them fall out of favor. But today's episode is about how, and the real reason why I stopped liking this company, and that's because their HR department needs to be fired. Today we're going to be talking about their responses to the petition, responses that they have to their own investors, and how their company as a whole has been taking basically a hit in all departments and financing. Now, if you don't already know from our last video or our last podcast about Ubisoft, in Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is another upcoming game for Ubisoft, there's been controversy about the character Yasuke, and we'll be going in more depth about that in a later episode or a different podcast. But for today, we wanted to talk about their response to the petition. Gio, when you heard this response, before I even say the response, I want you to give me your honest opinion on what you thought of it.
Well, when I first, because I sent it to you guys on the Discord when I came across it on Instagram, I would say, like, when I saw there was an apology, I genuinely thought there was going to be an apology in the statement, but it just turned out to be a sorry, not sorry kind of deal. It was like, hey, we're sorry, but still buy the game. We know we might have offended you, but don't be that mad at us, because that's how it felt. That's how I read it. That's how it seemed. It was like a whole lot of something being said, but nothing at the same time. They didn't really address the actual problem that Japan is having with the game.
Yeah. And reading that response was like, man, do they have no tact. They're just really grinding the gears of the players by just going, we understand your dilemmas, do know this is our creative freedom to do such a thing, we hope to see you buy this game. And then it was like, you didn't respond, like, you didn't give us a solution. All you told us was, don't get salty, we're still putting this out. That's all you said. That's all they basically said. That's how I felt, my personal opinion. And let's just say the community did not take that very well.
No, they did not. Actually, I think it made it 10 times. They should have just not. I told you, I think I even put it in when I shared it. I was like, they were better off not saying, just don't say anything.
Exactly. And this drama, we think it's just like, oh, they're just handling this poorly to just the community, because like the petition was made by the community. They felt like they needed a response to the community, and maybe they're just bad talking to the player base. I just think they're bad at talking, because right now I'm going to bring up a conversation that the executives, or I don't want to say executives, but like definitely one of the upper management and Ubisoft said to one of their investors. You know what? I won't bring it up. Gio, I think you found this document. I want you to tell me what they said and how you feel afterwards when they said it.
Let me.
I know. I definitely think you have it open, because we were talking about it.
I'm just trying to find that part of it.
Yeah.
it is interesting. Basically, in regards to the pre-orders, they asked them involving, how basically it was looking, and he stated, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I apologize. Yves Gamot
Mhm.
basically stated that they don't talk about pre-order sales. They don't confirm any like actual metrics, but that the game was quote unquote perceived well and by the community or receiving positive feedback. I want to get the exact statement.
I have it. It's like at the
Okay.
it's like the third or it's the first paragraph after the image of the robot
The-
from the screenshot from Star Wars Outlaw. It's like at the very
oh,
top.
okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Responded to the first question saying we can't comment on the numbers quoting, but we factored. This is the Star Wars. My bad. Hold on.
Hmm.
Why didn't I see this? As for the other question, as we mentioned, we expect Shadows to be the most ambitious title of the series. We also anticipate that Star Wars, that is usually a very strong brand around Christmas, should do very well with the busy season with a strong impact. Also, the content for both games. And also, we expect further growth from Rainbow Siege as well as a strong impact from Shadows. Then they were kind of questioned when you talk about it being the most ambitious, are you hoping for it to be the best selling Assassin's Creed game? And they responded, Guillemot, at this time, we can say we expect Assassin's Creed to be among the high sellers of the company so far. So if it is going to be one of the highest sellers, you still would expect this game to do over $1 billion because Valhalla is one of the highest sellers, and that did over $1 billion for Ubisoft. So in order for Assassin's Creed Shadows to be one of the highest sellers, they would have to sell over $1 billion worth, which we did the math. I think it equated to about 16,664,444,000 units, something like that. It's basically a huge number. And right now, they're lowballing it to their investors, saying they're expecting 5 million units as of right now. But if you're saying it's going to be one of the highest sellers, why are you lowballing it so low? Why aren't you? Maybe even if they projected 10 million, because then you're starting to get into that range. Why would you throw out such a, as they quote unquote, conservative number?
Yeah. And I would say like I don't know if did we contribute the fact because I don't remember if they put out a sale price for the Shadows. Did they say how much it was going to be? Because if it's like $70, $80 a game, okay.
The investor quoted them saying for the release, well, I know Star Wars for sure is supposed to be looking at 70.
Okay. So if we follow the
And
same,
if they're expecting, so what they're expecting for Outlaws even is about a 200 million, $220 million
return.
return basically, which is about a 5 million unit roughly. So it's like they're being very conservative and they're being very evasive with their answers. Even with when they're getting questioned by the investors on the backlash, like, listen, we're hearing a lot of negative things. Why, like, you seem to be avoiding the truth here or avoiding addressing the issue.
Yep. And uh and this is how they talk to people that are literally giving them money to get their games to make their games, okay? They're being very evasive, they're very bad at speaking. They're trying to like put a positive note, but again, it's that same vibe of sorry not sorry. It's the same exact thing. It's like, "Oh, we are doing this. We think this is going to be positive." When they said and this is in a question to about Star Wars Outlaws. Uh, they said we think that the our games are going to be are like one of among the most awaited games of the industry this year, and we've have a really strong positive community sentiment. And I was like, what do you mean? Shadows has that petition, and literally Japan is looking into it as like whether or not it's like true and it's degrading to their culture.
don't forget about the amount of dislikes the actual main video of
In Japan
versus
too.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So like, where's the positive sentiment?
I don't know where that positive sentiment for that game is. And then Star Wars Outlaws is receiving backlash for the graphics, and we'll cover that in a later video or
Yeah,
another podcast as well. But like two of their most awaited games
yeah. The
have like
biggest
very
titles of the year.
strong negative sentiment right now. So I don't understand where they're saying this really strong positive community sentiment is coming and things along that nature. Now, all these claims that the CEO of Ubisoft has made, saying, "Oh, we have positive community sentiment and we are doing very well," and things like that, does not show in the current stock market for Ubisoft. Now, if you already don't know, Ubisoft has been losing or in a downward trajectory on the stock market, and I don't know the exact point ratios.
I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, or
I'll tell you
if you
right
got
now.
it, yeah.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. So all right, we're gonna go from the last 5 years. This is my concern too, that I think the investors are starting to push back and question them. So in the last 5 years, Ubisoft stock has dropped 76%. That's a huge number, 76%. And it's just been trending that way. So year over year, they're down 38%. In the year to date, they're down 20%. They just recently had the Q1 release of their number, and they dropped another 12%. Just recently. That happened at the beginning of this week. So there's cause to be concerned as an investor. And I was going to say, honestly, I'm surprised these investors haven't started pulling out, because where's the return of investment at this point? The stocks just continue to drop. Then you're having the backlash with your two biggest titles coming out, that there's a lot of players already expressing that they're not going to buy these games. Like when I saw the IGN showcase of Outlaws, like you said, where is the positive sentiment? Because all I seen, honestly, like the first 10, 15 comments was just like, "Oh, thank you, IGN. You just saved me $70. Oh, this is a rare win for IGN. They actually looking out for the gamers." Because all they said was that the game's graphics looked outdated. Like they looked 2 generations old. People were comparing it to PS3 even. Not just PS4, PS3.
Yeah, and this like this I don't want to say sentiment. I would this vibe, this attitude that Ubisoft has given me, it can possibly lead into two ways, and I definitely would like the community and your opinion on what I'm about to say here, because the more I think about it, the more I could go down two roads. All right, Ubisoft is ignorant or delusional, in that they're either really going strong with their brand name and thinking that like the name of Ubisoft will push these games forward enough that they'll recoup their losses with other things, because they definitely are expecting these games to either break even or fail. They're not like the words that they said to the investor does not actually portray, in my opinion, what they actually feel. Because there's no way that they think these games are going to be one of the best selling games, especially when, one, the evidence is there that it's not going to sell well, and two, when they are lacklusterly saying, "Hey, we're expecting 5 million units to sell," and I was like, maybe that's what their actual answer is, and he went back to like sweet talk the 5 million units. Or, and this is my, like, I don't want to say hot take, but this is like my conspiracy theory, and just put my aluminum foil hat on real quick. I do think maybe Ubisoft is planning to sell the company to a different company. Sell out to while they're going down, because like they see the turmoil. They probably spent a lot of money on Outlaws and a lot of money on Assassin's Creed Shadows, and then they're seeing this like turnout on both of the games that they put a lot of money into, like potentially going to fail, and they probably are thinking, well, how do we get anything out of this? And they were just like, what if we just, at this point in time, we can't go back, because Outlaws, and this is going to be very short. I don't want to explain it. They're not going to be able to fix Outlaws quick enough. It's gold already. And in order to update graphics, you would either need to change the engine or redo all the models, which it is not going to happen in a timely base. And for Assassin's Creed, they've doubled down and are definitely golding that game. So they're releasing that on its projected date. Because they're cementing this, they're lowering their stock values. They're watching maybe investors going to leave. And if investors leave, their stocks drops because they've been dropping for like the last 5 years. They are now at a point where companies are going to look at this and go like, I can turn this around. I can buy the company, and if I buy this company, I can rework the company into my image. With like large entrepreneurs, I think they're trying to get the same out that Activision and Blizzard got, where they get picked up by a large company, maybe Sony, and get into a position where they can restructure their company in order to, in the future, rebuild it in a good light. Because with both games, and I don't remember the exact amount, but Activision Blizzard got bought for multiple billions of dollars. They're not projecting either of those games to make billions of dollars, so they may be just like, let's lower the value of the company, and then maybe we'll get offers by other bigger companies.
So you think they're tanking it on purpose?
Yes.
Now, I guess yes, that would kind of make sense, because to get bought out, you gotta make it less expensive for a bigger company. Yeah, you gotta devalue it. I will say, I don't think they're doing it intentionally, like you might be thinking. I think now at this point, if you're saying they're seeing this go down this road and they're thinking about taking that route, that might be the case, because at the point they're at right now, I don't know how they save themselves at this point, because they can't go back on these two games. They can't delay them because they don't have anything else really coming out or stated for this year that can help generate some kind of revenue that doesn't make the year a complete loss. They have nothing else to depend on. And the amount of time it would take to correct these games, it would take another year or so. They don't have the time for it. They just don't. So, yeah, I could see that being a possibility. And like you were saying earlier, the verbiage they used in those meetings does not display confidence at all. It's like you said, they know these games are going to fail at this point from their original projections and what they were hoping to get out of these games. Mm-hmm. It's going to be an epic failure, and it's going to start August 30th when Outlaws is supposed to be released. That's when we'll know how bad it's going to be. Like, I think that will set forth the picture of how bad Assassin's Creed is going to fail, which is going to be more seen as an epic failure, more so than Outlaws, because, like you said, Assassin's Creed is their franchise. That's their money maker. That's the game that is Ubisoft in a sense. Like, that's Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed. So, yeah, I could see that potentially being an outcome. I think at this point, in all honesty, the stance they've taken, they've put themselves in this position at this point. And you know what? They can't save face at this point. They just can't. They can't. I mean, this has been a downward trend. I was going to say, even before you mentioned that, I was going to say, man, they need to shake things up with leadership somehow, until I realized it was a family-owned business. So then I was like, shit, how do you do that? Like, most of the board members are probably the family members anyway. So what do you do there? You HR, PR, whoever team you guys have in charge of that, they're terrible. They're terrible.
Oh, I said their HR team needs to be fired. Their HR team needs to be fired, replaced. I don't know who you talk to, but you go to Microsoft. Ask Microsoft to lend an HR team, because obviously y'all can't do it. Like, it's been year after year, your HR team has made mistake after mistake, putting bad light on and bad twist on every single complaint you've ever gotten. Like, I don't think I've ever heard a single good outcome from HR or Ubisoft responding to any concerns the community has. Like, legit, just replace your HR or restructure it. One of the two. Something's not working there.
The only thing I was going to say, though, is I don't think Ubisoft is going to get as much money as Blizzard
No,
and
100%
Activision
not. 100%
because
not.
they tanked their stock so much, and those games didn't have the backlash that this game or this company has right now, or that representation in a sense. I mean, like they've really diminished what their name is valued at this point, and they continue to do it. Like it's
Yeah.
not even like like China. I know they've been calling it damage control, but I haven't seen the control and the damage at all.
No,
I've
no,
only
it's
seen it
it's
worsening.
it's it, there's no control. You just put the period after damage because they're just doing it more to themselves. It's just damage, just more damage. Just keep throwing damage at us because like
Here's a question:
I don't know if it's like their integrity or whatever, but
who do you think would really buy them out? Now, I have a valid question because I know you said Sony possibly as a potential candidate. We know Microsoft will probably be out of this one because they've spent so much money. They're already trying to make up, and
they're recouping.
yeah. So I highly doubt Microsoft will be in those conversations. Do you think a Riot Games would try to take them over? Because Riot Games is a very big company and powerful right now. I think the titles that comes with Ubisoft kind of fits the visuals and the kind of ideas that Riot kind of has with their games. That character, even the style of the characters and stuff like that. I feel like that fits with Riot Games. And if there's any company that could probably save Ubisoft and maybe get some trust back in the player base, I feel like Riot Games would be a good company. Do I think they could beat out Sony? No, realistically.
No. My thoughts are not probably Riot for like several reasons. I know Riot recently has gone through laying off employees to recoup losses. They've just closed down their entire indie studio, well, their indie cooperative that they had. And then they just did a restructure for all their like inner studios and game projects. So I don't know if Riot is looking to pick up a studio, especially Ubisoft, who are literally needs to be restructured, needs to be damage control, and to turn face for them.
But can they buy out the titles? Like not buy the studio
IP?
per se, like try to take in just get the IP. Like if they can get control of those games and then start developing those games in their vision, do you think that's a possibility? Or even if another publisher even tried to do that?
It is 100%. If Ubisoft doesn't get buyout, their IPs will, and I have already in mind what companies would pick it up. I think EA 100% picks up Assassin's Creed. EA is my other thought. Is like if Sony doesn't get it, EA does. EA probably is the second most likely behind Sony to try to buy Ubisoft, especially with EA's their repertoire right now. They're like Madden series, and they also have their sports games and things like that. They haven't really been putting out a lot of other games. Like Star Wars is one of their old things, like Battlefront with an EA title. So I do think they have the repertoire and definitely the resume to pick up and carry off the IPs that Ubisoft has. Riot, I don't think they could probably pick up an IP, but I also think with how many projects that they are known to have right now, we have the MMO for Riot, and they're still making their fighting game, which is almost like on release.
Oh yeah, almost yeah. SKO or something like that.
2XKO. I've signed up for the alpha. We'll see how that goes.
It looks dope.
Oh, 100%, 100%. They have a lot of projects on their plate right now, and I don't know if they want to add another one until at least one of those projects are done. So maybe later in the year we'll see how 2XKO does. Maybe if Ubisoft is asking for purchases after 2XKO comes out and is successful, there is a chance that Riot may be picking up one of their IPs. And I think their IP that they'll most likely go for are the lesser, the ones that are not going to demand that graphical fidelity. So they're probably not going to pick up any of the Tom Clancy's. They're probably not going to pick up the Assassin's Creed or Prince of Persia, but they probably could pick up Watch Dogs or they can probably pick up something along those lines, or like Valiant Hero, something like that. So,
Okay.
but we'll see. Do you have any final thoughts? Any final questions?
No, I hate to say it this way, but I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out. I really am, because this is kind of, we've never seen a major gaming company like this kind of fall the way they're falling.
What are we talking about? Like how bad they're falling?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How bad they're falling? Because I was about to say, I was like, we have seen it, Sega.
No.
But like, not in this regard. Not like
Sega was never ever like a stable company. You know?
That's what I was about to
They
say.
were
I was
always, yeah, they were always on flimsy. They were never a Nintendo per se or Sony. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and like honestly, I would love for Ubisoft to turn it around, but time and time again, they just proved to me that I don't think they can. I don't think they have it within themselves, both in their HR department and just as the company as a whole, to just like ground themselves and realize that maybe the world's not the problem. Maybe you're the problem.
Well, they had a long run though.
They had a good run. Yeah. That's it. That's all from us. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts, the Ubisoft controversy, and maybe your opinions on why, or actually opinions on who should buy Ubisoft. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Later.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Part-Time Gamers podcast. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And follow us on our other social platforms on TikTok, Instagram, and Discord. Links for those will be provided in the description. Thank you again. We will see you on the next episode of the podcast. And make sure you make some time for video games. Peace.